Welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Brianna Faringer, an attorney, spiritual guide, and wealth activator. I'm here to help you align your mindset for abundance and break through any glass ceilings with money. If you're ready to embrace your highest calling, manifest with more ease, and create a life that feels lighter and more aligned, then let's dive in. Hello, welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Brianna. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode today. I'm going to talk about two concepts that are really fascinating to me, but I want to just preface this by saying I am going to talk about these two things only for the purpose of being able to highlight a very specific concept that really affects a lot of people, and using these two things, past lives and twin flames, is a really good way of doing that. So if you are like, I don't care about twin flames or past lives, I'm not going to talk about those things in detail. So please, I would encourage you to keep listening. This episode is not about past lives and twin flames, because those are things that I do not specialize in. They're not things that come up an enormous amount in my practice. They do come up, and I want to use them to highlight something that happens. And it's a pattern that every single person I know has. It's a pattern that I have had. It's sometimes a pattern that I will have come up, and I have to be very mindful of it. And that is when we create stories around something in our lives, and then we start living in accordance with that story, even though it may not even be true. And we start creating this energy and this emotion around a story that we have created that actually is not even affecting our lives in any way sometimes, or is not affecting our lives in the way that we think it is. And so I'm going to use past lives and twin flames because these are two ideas that when people attach to them, they create this super strong energy around a story that they think goes along with what a past life is or what a twin flame is. And then they start creating this narrative around it that they're then living in accordance with, and it's actually affecting them very negatively. So I'm going to generally very briefly talk about past lives and twin flames because I am not an expert in them. If I say anything where you're like, I don't agree with that or that's not true, great. I am not an expert in past lives or twin flames. I'm going to say this multiple times. Okay, past lives are lives previous to this physical life. If you don't believe in a past life, fine. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. I didn't used to. I have had my own personal experiences with past life that made me completely change my perspective on it, and now I know for myself that that is true. However, you don't have to believe in past lives for this concept to resonate. So a past life is something that has happened in a lifetime prior to now. My belief, and I know because I've had it happen in my own life, is that past lives can have an effect on this life. Things that will happen in a past life can have an effect on us in this life, even if we don't consciously know it. So there is a lot that can be gained from past lives. I do not go into past lives in any detail in my sessions with people. There are people who specialize in past lives. I am not telling you they are not important. They can be. But there is a narrative that some people create in their life around past lives that they use this, and then they start creating their own suffering, and they don't actually realize that they're doing it. And I'm going to tell you what that is. I think it's important to be curious about past lives, by the way, if you believe in them. I think it's important to be curious and see, is there anything that can be relevant for you to helping you heal something that's affecting you in the now, in the present. But I also have this belief that things that have happened in the past are in the past. And if you heal things in the present, you don't really have to go back there. I know people who deal with past lives would probably disagree with me, but again, this is not, not about necessarily whether they can be helpful to you or not. I encourage everyone to live in the present moment. I think if you're living in the now and not in the past, regardless of whether it's something that's happened in this lifetime or a previous one, you are better off just trying to heal whatever is happening in the now, so that you don't have to constantly be referring back to anything that's happened in the past, whether it was yesterday or 40 years ago or in a previous life. I'm just going to put that out there. But I will have this come up with people. I have worked with people before where they have created this narrative for themselves that things in their life maybe have been unfortunate, they have been not what they wanted, they have been hard. And so they will attach to this idea that something had to have happened in a past life that is causing them to have such a crappy experience in this life. Almost like I must have done something in a previous life to have ended up here where I'm at. And it's this, I'm not, by the way, telling people that they shouldn't be curious about why things are happening. I will say being in the energy of why keeps people very stuck. And I know because I've been there myself. When you are constantly in the place of